Welcome to Nasdaq TradeTalks. I'm Jill Malandrino, Global Markets Reporter at Nasdaq, coming to you live from the SALT Conference in New York City. Joining me for this segment, we have Anthony Scaramucci, Chairman of SALT, and we're here to discuss some of the key themes that we're discussing at the conference. Of course, crypto outlook and the impact of the U.S. election. We'll also get into some decentralization as well. Anthony, it's great to see you as always. Thank you for having us back.
It's great to be here. Thank you.
How are you feeling about this year's event?
You're a good luck charm.
Well, yes. Last time we were here, the Bitcoin
was
picture
at
looked different.
26,000 last year. It's at 68 now, so I need you back next year.
Oh, well, this hodler is very happy to see where it is. But let's talk about some of the key themes, how it differs from past years, some of the outlook, the sentiment. It feels different than some of the conversations we were having last year.
Well, I mean, you can break it up into categories. I think in the crypto world, people are very pessimistic, very gloom and doom. And obviously that's usually a good time to buy because we've had a sort of a resurgence in the bull market activity. But I think what's interesting, the thing that's going on here is how to parse through the election and what are the risks depending on who wins the election here in the United States. And I think one thing that's clear, and I don't think investors are as focused on this, is that our adversaries around the world have done a reasonably to very good job of avoiding our sanctions. They're finding ways to sell oil, they're finding ways to sell raw materials, avoiding US sanctions. Chinese, as an example, are shipping a lot of semi-finished goods into Southeast Asia. They get finished and then the made in whatever country gets stamped on them and they avoid the sanctions by coming into the United States. And so I think one of the big themes here is what should the US really do in terms of its economic policy, its crypto policy, and should we stop politicizing things and rather than having them hard left or hard right, should our regulatory and economic policies be more about right or wrong? So I think that's been the general biggest theme at the conference so far.
I think people are looking for solutions as well, and we had the Blockchain Association on with us earlier this morning and talking about crypto and how some swing states are really going to be dependent on how they are talking about crypto policy. We were not thinking about that last year. Of course, Trump is talking about crypto, so now it's forced into the national spotlight.
Right, exactly.
It is something that regulators and legislators are going to have to contend with.
Exactly. So I just want you to imagine this. Trump was negative on crypto. Trump put out tweets as president. Trump very negative on crypto. But what he is very good at is tea leaves and political instincts.
Right.
And what he's very good at is he's recognizing that if he wants to get reelected, the younger voters are probably going to swing the election. And so what's frustrating for me, because I'm not a Trump supporter, what's frustrating for me is to watch the Biden team blow this. They're talking about vetoing SLI 121, not to bore people with that, but it would give banks the right to hold crypto on their balance sheets, customers' crypto, without it dinging their capital requirements. And it was passed in the House and the Senate in a bipartisan way, but of course because of Elizabeth Warren, President Biden is threatening to veto it. So if he does veto it, I think it's going to hurt his campaign, and I think they've addressed that from the stage here as well. So a lot of really good commentary about what is really going on below the surface.
Yeah.
You know, yes, we're going to put sanctions on China. What does that mean? Well, it's only 4% of their economy and 0.5% of their exports. So does the new sanctions have any teeth? The answer is no.
Yeah, it's just so interesting to see how crypto's been launched into the national spotlight. So I'm curious to see how that plays out in the election cycle as well. But to your point, how they're circumventing, different areas to bring goods or technology in from China, especially with tariffs that have been introduced. So I think that's going to be a big part of it as well. But I want to talk about Skybridge specifically. And you announced a partnership with a decentralized real estate trading platform. Tell us more about the partnership and how is that part of Skybridge's 2024 strategy?
Yeah, so we've done a couple of things at Skybridge since you and I last spoke. I think the big thing is our diversified coin fund. We've got that almost at $100 million. Depending on market prices today, it's about $85 million. We raised a secondaries fund, so this is late stage secondary, so we've made purchases since I last saw you in things like SpaceX and Klarna and Liquid Death and Fanatics and Circle, the stablecoin company. We also bought into Astera Labs, which has already gone public. And so these are all late stage private equity expecting to go public. What you're referring to is Parcel. It's P-A-R-C-L. It's a Solana-based token where a couple of geniuses have developed a index. So it's very specific, it's very granular, tons of data where you can get long or short a city. So if you want to get long Atlanta real estate, you can get that done through Parcel. If you want to get long or short New York City real estate, you can get that done through Parcel. They're about to add Abu Dhabi, they're about to add Dubai. They've got 10 of our major cities added to the platform now. And what's brilliant about this is there was no way to properly hedge real world assets like real estate in a liquid capital market structure. The Case-Shiller Real Estate Index, which is a very interesting index, has a lag to it. In some cases, it's lagging 2 months of data. This is all real-time inputs, real-time data. It launched about a month ago. It's going very, very well. And these utility tokens on the network, the PARCLs, if you will, they're Solana-based. They allow you to trade in these different real estate markets. So I predict that lots of real estate owners, hard asset real estate owners, will have a relationship with them over the next 2 to 3 years. I think it'll be a very big market.
Yeah, it's interesting.
And we're a large investor in that company.
Right, but I think it's interesting when you're talking about lagging data. I'm surprised to see that the government readings aren't leveraging real-time data. I have millions of pieces of data that can be looked at when it comes to inflation, when it comes to the real estate market.
But it's really rents and rent turnover.
Right.
So we can actually look granularly into different buildings. So if you tell me you own this building, we can look at the surrounding buildings and we can tell you, well, here's the residential rent rates in that area, and here's the turnover in each of those specific buildings. So we actually are attaching ourselves in a real world way to everything that's going on in that market. And so what we've also found is people are interested just in the data. You could be a large real estate developer or large REIT holder, and you're trying to obviously maximize your rents, reduce your turnover in your tenants. This is also a mechanism that can help you do that.
Yeah, it sounds like tokenization is really the next inflection point when it comes to institutional adoption.
Exactly, and this is real world asset tokenization, and so this is something I'm proud to be working on.
Yeah, and it's not just the financial sector. A lot of non-financial use cases can be a result of tokenization as well.
No question. You know, listen, recently I bought a piece of the Basquiat, the artwork. Basquiat did a self-portrait of himself in Andrew Warhol before he died. This went for auction for tens of millions of dollars, and the owner hived off a small piece of it, and you could buy units of ownership in that self-portrait. And so I went out and did that, and I think it's a fun investment. It's also, when he goes to sell it, hopefully it'll be sold at a higher price than what we bought it at, and it'll be a nice shareholder appreciation.
All right, Anthony, appreciate the insight as always. Thanks for joining us on Trade Talks.
It's great to be on.
And thanks for joining me from SALT. I'm Jill Malandrino, Global Markets Reporter at Nasdaq.